dear. Wow. All right, can everybody hear me okay? Everybody can see okay? Just nod your head. So far the tablet hasn't fallen, so I think we're good. All right, so we learned the alphabet, and I'm sorry, Naomi's mom, I'm not sure of your name.
It's Heather.
Heather. Okay, hi Heather. I'm not sure if you got the link to the YouTube videos for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You did? Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll do, oh goodness, now I'm going to do it. All right, we're going to do a really quick review of the alphabet and our numbers from 1 to 10. And then I'm going to ask a couple of you to show me the sentences that we ran over last week, and maybe we'll do a review of them, and then give you a couple more and a few more signs, okay? So let's run through the alphabet first. So everybody get your hands ready, get your arms ready. Please don't touch the cords, love. All right. Okay, are you ready? So let's go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Can you see that one? Good. K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. Remember just those two fingers. Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and however you want to say the last letter, it's either Z or Z, but it looks the same no matter which way. Just draw it just like you would write it on your paper. Okay, so that's good. You guys did really well. I was trying to make sure I could see everybody, but Will and Brett, I don't know what they're doing with their phone over there. It's just kind of going, oh, it's a dog. That explains it all. No, that's fine. I had enough trouble with my own tablet. I'm not going to criticize anybody else. All right, so that's our alphabet. And then we did our numbers from 1 to 10. Anybody want to stick a hand up and volunteer to show us one? Oh, Darius, excellent. All right, Darius was the first hand I saw, so he's going to go ahead. And we don't even need him to unmute because we're signing. And so we don't need to hear him. We're just going to watch him. He's going to sign from 1 to 10. All right, Darius, go ahead. All right, good. I don't know if everybody else had a little hitch in their video when he did his numbers. I had a little hitch. So let's go through them all together. That was a good job, Darius. Excellent. All right, ready? 1, 2, and remember the next number is a little bit different for sign language. Stick your thumb out for 3, 4, 5, then reach for 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? All right, everybody did really well. Who remembers the song? Everybody remember the song that we did for our numbers? Do you want to sing it? I have a feeling the little kids will want to sing it, and the big kids are like, no, no. All right, let's go ahead and sing it for the little kids. So remember, we go from 1 up to 10, but we do 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. Remember that with your F hand? That's the sign for Indian. And we're talking about a Native American Indian, not an East Indian. Okay, so Indian, and then we go 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Indians, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little Indians, 10 little Indian Boys, right, that's right. So 10 little Indian boys, and you just grab the bill of your hat. Most young guys like to wear baseball caps. I know my husband, Bud, he loves to wear baseball caps. If he's not wearing a baseball cap, it's a cowboy hat. If it's not a cowboy hat, it's probably a hard hat for working in the woods. So we go all the way up to 10 boys, and then we go backwards. We're going to start 10 little, 9 little, 8 little, and go backwards to the Indian girls. All right? Are you ready? We're going to sing. I'm going to, hopefully you sing too, because if I think I'm singing all by myself, I get really nervous and embarrassed, and then I start shaking really bad. No, I'm just joking. All right, are you ready? No? Yes? Okay, all right, here we go. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Indians, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little Indians, 10 little Indian boys. Are you ready to go backwards? Do you think, you big boys, do you think you're smart enough to count backwards and sing and sign at the same time? Well, I'm glad. Oh, no, it's not even Seth shaking. Yes, it is. Seth's shaking his head. He's 12 years old and he's shaking his head. That's good. Very humble of you. All right, let's see if we can do it. Are you ready? 10 little, 9 little, 8 little Indians, 7 little, 6 little, 5 little Indians, 4 little, 3 little, 2 little Indians, 1 little Indian girl. Good job. You guys are so smart. All right. I would like, I'm going to try to judge the hands. So everybody put your hands down. Everybody put your hands down. I'm going to try to judge the hands. When I count to 3, the first person with their hand up is going to volunteer to do something, all right? And you watch. Nobody's going to raise their hand. Ah! All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, Darius was pretty quick, but I did see one of Miss Andrea's boys. I have no clue which one, so let's go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a no, we won't do that. All right, Nathan, I would like you to show me what you would say if you met a deaf person on the road. Now, you remember that you know maybe a little bit more than the other kids, so I only want you to show us what we learned last week at the end of our class, okay? Just show me what I told you to practice, the sentence that I told you to practice, okay? All right, go ahead. Show us, how would you greet a deaf person? Yeah, well, you could just say hi. Good. All right, so he signed good to meet you. Now, last week I taught nice to meet you, and then he's going to say, but that's a separate sentence, so we're going to let somebody else volunteer to do that one. Okay? So last week we learned that you would say hi. That's a very normal thing to do, because if you see somebody, you're going to say, oh, hi. Now, does anybody remember how to ask a person? Because you're not just going to automatically see some random person on the street and say, oh, hi, and start signing to them, because what if they're not deaf? They're going to look at you like, little bit cuckoo, right? So what are you going to ask them? If you think they might be deaf, maybe you think you saw them signing to somebody, or you see a hearing aid in their ear, what might you ask them in sign language to find out if they are deaf? Somebody raise their hands, besides Nathan. All right, Savannah, I see you up there. Why don't you? What would you ask them? Okay, so what you would ask them is, are you deaf? So the sign for deaf, if you remember, you just use your index finger. Now, I will remind everyone, when you're signing, try to pick one hand to use, okay? Some people are really good with both hands, and that's good. But when you're signing, you're supposed to have one hand that you use for most of it, and then the other hand is what's called your supportive hand. So you have a dominant hand and a supportive hand. If you're left-handed, then you're probably going to use your left hand, like my husband does, for the signs, and your right hand will just be the helper hand. But if you're right-handed, it'll be opposite, and you'll use your right hand. Now, watching me is like looking at a mirror, okay? So if you're right-handed and you're trying to copy me, you're going to want to copy me with your left hand. Don't do that. It's just like a mirror. So if this hand is moving on me, then that needs to be your right hand. I'm right-handed. So when you sign, pick a hand and see if you can do that. What happens is if you say deaf, the deaf person's going to be like, which hand am I supposed to be watching? It's going to confuse them. So try to keep it consistent. A lot of signs can be done with just one hand, okay? And for simple ones like this, you're going to use your right hand and you're going to point to your mouth and then your ear. And what that means is the deaf person cannot talk and they cannot hear. Some deaf people will try to talk. Some deaf people, there are different levels of being deaf, just like there are different levels of skills in other areas too, okay? But typically speaking, a fully deaf person cannot speak and they cannot hear. And so you point to your mouth and you point to your ear. Doesn't matter which way. You can go from your ear to your mouth. It really doesn't make a difference. The whole point is that they can't hear and they can't talk, okay? So you're going to say, deaf, you. Now, you can say, you, deaf. The most important thing in sign language, and this, guys, honestly, is going to be the most important thing you will know about sign language. Everything. It doesn't matter what your hands do. Your face can tell a story. Right now, some of you are telling me, Aunt Jen or Miss Jen, this is the most boring class I've ever been in my life. Some of you are looking at me like, oh, this is really cool. Some of you are, oh, look, there's a fly on the wall. A lot can be said with just your face. Okay, so let's try an exercise because deaf people love a person that's expressive. You can be the worst signer in the world, and a deaf person can still love you to pieces. If you are passionate, if you're excited, if you show expression in your face, okay? A person that stands up and tell me how boring that would be. Have you ever been somewhere where somebody has been standing up to give a speech even some preachers, and Lord bless them, you can get anything. You can get something from the Lord from any preacher that you listen to. But there are some preachers that you really have to get it from the Lord because you're not going to get a whole lot of enthusiasm from them. People get up to sing a song in church, or they get up to sing a song and it's Amazing Grace, how sweet sound. How's that for fun to listen to, right? So deaf people are the same way. All they have to get something is their eyes. They can't hear anything. So they want not only to hear you with their eyes, but they want to see you with their eyes. So they need to get two senses all into one, okay? So your facial expressions and your body language are going to be super, super important. You don't talk to a deaf person. And that's why I will really stress to you too about keeping your hand still when you're finger spelling. Otherwise, if you're doing this, they're so confused and they can't pay attention to you. So that's a lot in just a few sentences, but really important for you to remember that your facial expressions are very important. So everybody all together, show me without saying anything, without moving your hands, show me happy. Willow, come on now. I know there's happier than that. There we go. That's better. All right, so you're showing me happy. We don't show happiness like this. I mean, Brett might, but most people don't. All right, so there's happy. Okay, same thing. Show me sad. Who's not going to cry looking at those faces, right? Okay, show me surprised. come on now, show me surprised. I'm looking like, he's like, that's more confused. I want to see surprised, like, oh, I just got a new car. Well, you guys, half of you, it would do you no good, but okay? Show me confused. It's like, when you start signing, you're probably going to see that a lot on the deaf people's face. It's probably going to be like, huh? Okay, so those are just a few examples of how important your facial expressions are. So when you go up to a deaf person, you say, hi, are you deaf? And they say, yes. Then you're going to say, oh, nice to meet you. Not, right? Does this tell you that I'm happy to meet you? Does that make you think that I'm happy that you... No, you're going to show it with your face, okay? So you would say, hi, are you deaf? And they will either say yes or no. Which one? Okay, so no is just with your two fingers, like N, and it's really putting them together. It's an N and an O together. No. No. So I would say, deaf me? No. I'm hearing. Can you see that? Sometimes on the computer it's hard to see, but I have my index finger, and what I'm doing is I'm showing you the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay? That's the sign for hearing. So you wouldn't say, I'm not deaf. You wouldn't necessarily say, I'm a speaking person. You say, I am a hearing person. And so then you can say, my name is, and spell it. And who would like to do that for me? All right, Jeremy, I see you up there. All right, show me. My name is. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. All right, so it's very easy. My name. So you have your H hands, that's what you'll call them, and you put your dominant on top of your supported. So if you're right-handed, your right hand on top of your left. If you're left-handed, obviously, you're going to do it the opposite way, okay? My name, we don't say is, because deaf people only will sign words like that because they know that we're hearing and that's how we talk. But when you talk with just deaf people together, themselves, you will never see them sign, my name is, or we are going to the store. Never. You'll never see them do that. They'll say, go to the store, you and I. It's very simple. It's very short. They take out a lot of those words that they don't really understand or they don't use, and they just sign what we would say the important words. So they say my name, and then you can spell your name. Now, if you have a name that has two letters side by side, Brett, I can't remember if you use two T's or just one to spell yours, but Will's a good example, just one. Okay, Will's a good example. Will down there, his name obviously is spelled W-I-L-L. There are two ways you can do this, and I'm not going to tell you that either one is wrong. What I will tell you is that back several years ago, they would sign W-I-L-L or L-L, like that. They would show you one, then close their fist and show you the other one, or push it forward. What we've seen more recently is that they've changed that, so they would do it W-I-L-L. Just like as if you were writing it, you wouldn't write one L and then put another L on top of it. You write one, and then you move to the side and write the other one. My name is the same. It's J-E-N-N-A. It's not an N on top of an N. It's N with an N beside it and then an A. Okay? So just the way you would write it on paper is the way that you would spell it. If you come across a word that you're spelling that has a double letter. Okay? If you do it the other way, you're not wrong. It's just a different way. A deaf person might correct you, but they also might correct you doing it this way. It really all depends on the deaf person. But if a deaf person corrects you or tells you that you did something wrong, don't be hurt and don't be upset, because deaf people are just like you and I. They're all different and they all like different things. They like you to sign the way they sign. But if you didn't learn from them, then you're probably not going to sign exactly like them. So you just say, oh, okay, and do what they want for the time, and then when you leave, you go back to the way you did it before, and it's fine, okay? So don't put a lot of pressure on yourself if you make a mistake and the deaf person says, hey, that was wrong. Might be wrong to them, so you do what they want for now, and then carry on same as before, okay? All right, so we've learned hi. You know how to ask a person if they're deaf. And remember what we said? We would say, are you deaf? But a deaf person is going to put that at the end. They switch things around. There are a couple different languages that we can speak that do that, like French and Spanish. A lot of times the subject is after the action, while deaf people are the same way. So instead of saying, are you deaf? They're going to say, deaf you. Okay, here's a question for you. I'm going to sign that two ways, and I want you to tell me what made the difference in, watching please, in how you understand it, okay? What's the difference? Show me what the difference is. What did you notice was the difference? Yes, exactly. My face, the expression was different. One was a question and one was a statement. So see, the same signs, but a completely different meaning. Okay? That's a good example of, and if you're not sure how to sign something, act it out. Pretend you're playing charades. My husband is the best person to watch interpret a church service because half the time he might not know the exact signs, but he just plays charades. And they always get it. They always understand, and that's the most important thing. All right, very quickly. The sign for good and the sign for bad. Okay? The sign for good, you're going to take your flat hand from your chin, not your mouth, from your chin and lay it in your other hand. Okay? Good. Now, I will tell you right now, you will never see a deaf person sign good. It's always going to be good. They don't use that other hand. They'll just say good, okay? But good and then bad is the opposite. You're just going to turn that hand over and hit your other hand, but quietly. Don't make noises with your hands. Number one, the deaf people, they can't hear the noises you make anyway, so there's no point in making a bunch of noise, okay? But good and bad, all right? We are once again running out of time because I blab a lot, and so, all right, let's do this. So you have good, you have bad. If you were to meet a deaf person, you knew they were deaf, you might say, hi, how are you? So the sign for how is just how. It's almost a natural sign. We would probably say, hey, how are you? Well, it's the same. It's just a little bit, just how. So your hands start in against each other and just roll them out. How are you? And they will say, good, bad. They might say, fine, I'm fine. Okay? So you have good, you have bad, you have fine. Some people might say, oh, lousy. Do you see that one? My thumb is on my nose. I'm lousy. So next week when I ask you, how are you? If I see one person, all right, okay? So lousy. So you might be good, you might be bad, you might be lousy, you might be fine. There are lots of different answers for that, okay? And I know we're going really quick, but you'll get the YouTube link later, so you'll have lots of time to practice. The sign for day, okay? This will be the last one that we learn because you want to be able to say good or I had a good day. So good day. So your supportive hand, the hand that you don't use all the time, lay it flat. This is your horizon. This is the sky, or like the line where the sky meets the earth, okay? Your other hand, your dominant hand, just put a finger up. It doesn't have to be a D, just put a finger up, and that finger is the sun. Well, what happens with the sun in the day is it gradually goes down, okay? So that's the sign for day. All right? Day. It might take you a while to get those to be natural, but that's the sign for day. All right, so you could say good day, bad day, fine day, I don't know. But whatever kind of day you're having, that's what you're going to sign. Okay? So, I feel like we do like not learn very much, but we have a lot of fun. But maybe it's only me that's having fun. I don't know. Anyway, so now you can practice your alphabet, you can practice your numbers, you can practice those sentences. I will take a picture of some sentences that you can practice with each other, but you're going to practice, hi, it's nice to meet you. Hi, how are you? Practice, my name is. Okay? Practice all those things that we've learned. All right? Sound good? I don't think we get 40 minutes. I don't know. Let me see. Oh, we still have 5 minutes. Never mind. We've got 5 minutes left. We already said our highs, and saying goodbye only takes a minute. All right, so let's try. I want to try to get all these signs in so that I can send you this whole lesson to practice. All right. So, a deaf person might ask you, where do you live? How do you think they're going to ask you that? Well, first you have to know the signs. It would help me. And it would help to teach you those. So, way before, ASL was very based on English. And so they used a lot of letters to create signs. I will tell you, you can still use the letters, but most deaf people do not like letters anymore. And so the sign for live used to be 2 L hands, live. From your waist up, where do you live? But we don't sign it that way anymore. We just use our fists. And it's live. Live and life are the same, okay? So where do you live? So they would sign live you where? This is the sign for where. You just raise your index finger and shake it back and forth. Where? So live you where? The question, instead of saying where, it's completely backwards. Instead of saying where do you live, we say live you where? Okay? So you're going to sign that. Live you where? If you sign you live where, that's fine. But the question word needs to go at the end. That where needs to go at the end. And then you can finger spell your whole address. It'll be great fun for you. You can tell them that your house or my house is big or large or pretty or small. So if you want to learn those signs, what do you think the sign is for a house? Somebody show me what you think house might be. Yeah, it's very simple. The sign for home is where you eat and where you sleep. But the sign for your actual house, you're just going to take your hands and draw the roof and the walls. Show that the roof comes down and the walls come down straight. That's the sign for house. It's super, super simple. So I would say my house is small. It's not very big. In fact, my house is a trailer. But don't worry about that. Don't learn that. So you would say my house is small. So if this is small, what do you think big might be? Big! Yeah. Now they will use, these are called, they're L hands, but they'll curve them and they'll say, oh, it's big, it's large, it's great. All the same sign. So we have a lot of English words. Deaf people simplify things. All the words, all the synonyms, if you know what those are yet in school, they have basically one sign. Some deaf, especially like an older deaf person, they might say, oh, it's great or it's large and make those letters more exact. But for the most part, if you just sign, oh, it's big, it's large, it's huge, it's great, it's body language and expression. If you say, oh yeah, it's big, or if you say, oh, it's huge, they're going to get that difference. Do you see the difference? I know. I have terrible facial expression. No drama here at all. Okay? But you can show it with just your hands. It can be kind of big, it can be it's pretty big, or it can be like, whoa, it's like massive. That's the sign I would have to use to describe my husband's muscles. Okay, so my house is small. Your house, okay? So there you go. Your See how mine is, it's mine. But if it's yours, then it's yours. Your house is what? What is it? Everybody tell me, what's your house? Is it big? Is it small? Which is it? Okay, so you basically get that, okay? And then to say goodbye, simply what do we do? It's the same thing as hi, okay? So that gives you all of, oh, not all of, very quickly, I think I just messed up the tablet, but before we're done, to say mornings, if you wanted to say good morning. All right, so remember, this is your horizon. This is where sky meets earth. For morning, now we're going to use our flat hand for these signs, okay? For morning, I'm going to try to show it. The sun comes up in the morning, okay? Morning. The sun comes up, okay? Now, for afternoon, you're going to flip this hand around. Now, if you want to show exactly noon, all you have to do is point your hand straight up. That's noon. That's high noon, if you watch Westerns. So if it's afternoon, you're going to turn your hand so the sun is actually facing the other person, and you're going to show it kind of in the middle. Okay? That's afternoon. Afternoon. And so depending on how late it is in the afternoon, but once you get to here, what happens when the sun gets here? It's going down, it's night. Okay? So they'll show evening, they'll show right here. See, the sun is almost ready to dip down past the horizon. Okay? And then night is down. All right? Everybody unmute really quick. Say bye. We have less than a minute left. I'm sorry.